Peace, people. This is your brother, Mr. Holipsism. Um, Coming to you on a Sunday afternoon. Ah, actually, was on the phone with my BAIO brothers last night, and we were just having a conversation, just chilling. But I'm waiting to get some company on this one before I really get into it because I'm here by myself right now. But I'm waiting for some of my people to um, log in so we can get into this live stream. And the topic of discussion for today is how do black folks create jobs? Some people say that the solution to the problem for black folks in America is jobs and freedom. The 1%, the BAIO, asked this question: how were jobs created to begin with? Where do jobs come from? And what has to be in place in order for the black folks to employ their own people instead of begging for jobs from white folks? Tune in as the 1% does a deep dive on the connection between infrastructure and job creation. So that's what it's about. Um, Give me a few minutes. I'm going to give a chance for my people to log in, and I will be right back. I do want to say one thing before my people come on, and that's in relation to this topic. I know that there are a lot of people that are on the fence when it comes to this black stuff. I see you, Salima. I'm gonna just give this preamble before I bring you in. Um, there's people that are in the camp, meaning people who's down with nationhood and they want to go about the process of building an independent nation or embracing Liberia, um, and who are more for building something inside of America, like some separate state for Black people inside of the United States of America. And then you got the people who's on the fence and really trying to get some idea what this Black stuff is all about. This live stream is for you. There are a few things that I went through when in my process to getting so-called knowledge, as they say. And this is why we came up with these questions to ask people. I see you, Jabari. I'll bring you in right after I finish this. Um, One of the questions that we always said that the people that's on the fence need to ask the people that they're listening to, because they might not know who to listen to. You know what I'm saying? Like they might listen to most of these black talking heads and think that these guys are deep and knowledgeable or whatever. And these are the questions that we suggest that you ask. Like the first two was, what is the black agenda? Ask that to whoever you're listening to, whoever you're giving an ear to. Ask them, what is the black agenda, and be specific. Don't allow them to give you vague and ambiguous stuff. Say, what specifically is the black agenda? What is it? The second question that we suggest that you ask these black talking heads that you listen to is, What is the end game for Black folks in America? In a perfect world in America, where do we end up? Like, what's the end game? What are we doing? Whatever we're doing here, what are we doing it for? Where are we going to end up? Ask them that question. And today we've come up with a third question for you to ask the Black talking heads. How do Black folks create jobs for Black people? I promise you, if you ask those three questions to any Black talking head that you're listening to and giving an ear to, that you're not quite sure who you should listen to, but you're giving them an ear, ask them those three questions. And the lack of an answer will bring you right back to the BAIO. And on that note, let me bring in Sister Salima and Jabari.
Peace. Good afternoon.
Oh, I like that picture.
Thank you.
I am eating right now, so I'm gonna be on mute for a bit.
Okay. Is that a new picture?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So, what are your thoughts on this topic today?
I
I'm gonna let
completely
you spill. I'm gonna let you shoot your shot, as they say.
absolutely. I agree with you. If you're not able to give definitive answers to those simple questions, then you're just absolutely not in the game. And as Black people, we are used to people saying pretty things to us and making these statements, and they never come to fruition. We could talk about, years and years and years of different folks saying, this is what we want to do, this is what we need to do, and then nothing happening. Y'all president, he talked about, what he was going to do for Black people. And if you not voting for him, then you're not Black. He said all of these things. And when he became president, the cops are still murdering Black people um, every single day on camera for no reason. And Joe Biden decided to pass laws to protect Asian people um, because of the supposed Asian hate that was going on around the coronavirus, and for those reasons. He's done nothing. He's done absolutely nothing to be worthy of this love, this support that Black people gives him. Absolutely nothing. Um, we can go back as far as the all of um, the recent quote unquote leaders or supposed Black leaders, the Polites, the all of those people who have come out and they have become, uh, some of them very wealthy, some of them have particular places in Black people's heart because of the flowery things that they say.
Mm-hmm.
And at no point have they produced anything tangible for Black people. We absolutely have to stop just, attaching ourselves to people because they talk nice. If they are not doing anything, if they can't answer simple questions, if they can't give you receipts as to what they're doing for Black people, then we absolutely need to stop even listening to them.
Mm-hmm.
And in saying that, we have to also remember that when we do see people that are doing something, we need to support them. I mean, because they're Black people, for whatever reason, they want to see, like with the BAIO, all we ask is that you sign up to the website. We're not asking for anything, no blood, no money. We're not asking for those things. And then You would think our membership would be super high. But the reason that we don't get high membership is because the things that we're talking about are solutions, actual solutions to our ills. And what Black people don't realize is that if you sign up to the website, if you put this energy that you put behind um, the self-hate, behind the um, watching Love and Hip Hop, the behind watching or commenting on Meg the Stallion and all of these things, and whether or not Deion Sanders is a sellout. If you put all of that energy into us having our own nation state, you would be surprised where we would be right now.
Mm.
So when you look at what these people have done, things that you could put your hand on, things that you could say, well, let me go and be a part of what you've done. If it's only videos and pamphlets and leaflets, because some of them they don't even write books. We need to have tangibles. And if we don't have those, if these people are not doing things that to make what they're saying happen, then you need to disassociate yourself with them.
Right.
And it's just that simple. It is very, very simple.
Yeah.
You know, so we can, like I said, we like pretty things. We like things that shine. We like things that make us feel good, and the singing and the humming and the hawing. But at what point do we value ourselves enough to say, that's all cool, but what you gonna do about it?
Right.
How can you direct me to the place that will stop Black people from being shot and murdered every day? And I don't want to hear about Black on Black crime, because with Black on Black crime, the Black person that kills the Black person goes to prison.
Mm-hmm.
So that talking point is absolutely and totally moot. Because
Right.
the cops that kill Black people, they go and they have a a vacation, a paid vacation.
Right.
So we have to be real with where we are as a people. We have to be real with whether or not we want our children to have something of their own when we're gone. And
Right.
if not, then let's just stop talking. Bend the freaking knee. Like when we say that, we really mean that. Stop talking about what white people are doing, about what this country has done to us, and just accept where we are as a people in this country. Leave the people that don't want to be here alone. Don't say anything to us, because you're not saying anything to this country and the government and the people that are keeping us in the position that we're in. You're not saying anything to them that is going to change or correct what is happening to Black people in this country and over the diaspora.
Mm-hmm.
We're not, the talking about it is doing absolutely nothing. If there's going to be no action, just bend the knee, deal with where you are in this society, and hush.
Yeah. Get in where you fit in.
Get in where you fit in, and deal. That is so funny. The fire truck or the police or this sounds like a fire truck to me. I was on the phone with my sister in New York, and I was like, "That is no. I know that truck is in New York, because we don't hear that down here." That is so
I
funny.
don't, you know, I'm so used to background
It
noise. It
don't
kind of
even
like,
bother you
yeah.
no more,
I didn't
right?
even hear that, what you just
I
heard.
heard it, and I was like, "That is New York. That's Mark." But that's what we need to be doing, and it's very simple. If you could choose where you want to be, and if you feel like you could do this right here in the United States of America, do it, and just leave us alone. Don't worry about what we're doing, because we are on two different pages, and that's absolutely fine
Right.
for you to believe what you want to believe. But then again, we must also remember that if you don't change the actions and what you're doing, history is doomed to repeat itself. And um there's still people who are alive that were part of the Tulsa race massacres. They're in their hundreds, but they're still alive. I believe it's still 3 of them alive.
Mm.
So we have to remember that there's still people alive that dealt with that went through that had to watch their family members murdered just because they had a thriving black city or town.
Mm.
So go on ahead. I mean, at this point, they don't even have to come to you to destroy your town, your whatever you want to call it, that you're going to have on American soil.
You just made me think of something. How come other groups who have a base of power outside of America, who form communities in America, nobody's burned their towns down? Like I haven't heard any stories of people burning down Chinatown.
It's because they
You
know
know?
that's because they have China to back them.
Right,
They're going to
right.
have that because when you say these things and you're like, oh, well, they're on American soil, they can't do anything. I always think back to when they started legalizing marijuana in the United States in different states. And the Chinese government came out and said to their citizens, if we find out that you are smoking marijuana in the United States of America and you come back to China, we're going to arrest you. So what that means is, even though you live in the United States and you're living under the rules and the laws of the United States government, you still have you still have responsibility to your country, one, and two, I can go ahead and exact whatever justice I feel needs to be exacted upon you when you are back on our soil.
Mm.
That's the difference.
I want to ask you some questions because
Mm-hmm.
and forgive us because we're going to do it. This is sort of like a preamble before we get into how the jobs are created, because I want Jabari on the line when we do that. But I have a question and this is directed toward the people who think that the key to us having power in this country is voting in the political process of this country. Let's do a little dream world scenario. Let's do a hypothetical.
Give me 1 second. Somebody's at the door.
Okay. I'll wait for her to come back because I want to answer this question. Yeah, I'm really glad we're doing this show, man. Because I guarantee you, if you ask these black talking heads how jobs are created, how do black folks create jobs in America? And not only how do they create jobs in America, but how are jobs created, period? None of these Negroes will be able to answer that question. And it's such a simple answer. Even somebody like me knows it. That shows you how simple it is. What's up, NDR 1981? Peace. Peace, Vic. Peace, Dundada. Peace, Super African Media Labs. And peace to everybody who's listening to us now. NDR. Oh, let me do that. They're worried about what we do as black nationalists because they want to report back to massa. They want that reward. They want that pat on the head. Yes, you are 100% correct. You have
All
to
right, I'm back.
control and own. All righty. Question. This is a scenario. The scenario is we have our own nation.
Mm-hmm.
Liberia is up and thriving. We control the government. The roads are built, highways, toll. Everything is operating at full capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Economy is thriving. But there are 13% of our population. Now, first of all, this is a hypothetical. This will never happen. But there's 13% of our population that's white. Right? When we elect our president, whose interest is the president supposed to work in?
Definitely not that minute 13%.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow, that's odd. So you mean if we had our own country and we were the dominant, no, we controlled, we were the majority, that our president would work in our interest?
absolutely.
Wow. Interesting.
Absolutely. I mean, that's how governments work. And
Hmm.
that's with any government.
So if we
You know,
elect, if the 13% helped elect our president,
hmm
what are they going to get out of it?
whatever we deem to be, whatever we get, what they get. They don't get any special treatment.
Oh wow. You see where I'm going with this?
Absolutely. I knew exactly where you were going with it. But I mean,
So
and
there you go. There you go. Like
absolutely,
you know,
yes.
this is why I love Malcolm X, and I love
Mhm.
Amos Wilson, and I love John Henry Clark. I think those are the three dudes who are the nucleus of my thinking process because
I'll
they
be back
break
in a
things
minute.
down. Oh, peace. They break things down in a logical way and make you understand how to think logically. You know what I'm saying? That's something that black talking heads don't teach our people. They're like spitting game at our people. It's like a dude trying to fuck a girl with a big ass.
Well, I mean,
That's how they talk to us.
absolutely. It's a pimp hoe situation with them.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like you have to listen to what they're saying. You Even if what they're saying is absolutely wrong, they're going to try and convince you otherwise because it doesn't fit their agenda.
Right. They know
So,
everything too. Like
oh
when
yeah.
you ask a person something and they don't have the ability to say, I don't know,
Mhm. Yep.
that's a red flag.
Absolutely.
Because my brother, rest in peace, had a saying that everything that he doesn't know makes up the rest of the world.
That's right. Nobody knows anything. I've used the analogy of the ocean
Mhm.
in regards to what we actually know. Just anybody. They've only explored about 7 to 8% of the entire ocean floor around the world. So and when they say that people are like, nautical experts or oceanographers, and they're
Mhm.
experts of about 7 to 8% of the ocean. How could they be an expert on anything if it's only 7 to 8% of it?
Right.
You're
That's
not an
what I've made.
expert.
I've made that point to atheists,
Hmm.
where I say that what is more vast, the known or the unknown?
Definitely the unknown.
The unknown is more vast, right?
Absolutely.
So therefore, I can't make any 100% statements about what is when I
Exactly.
have a vast amount of shit that I don't know. That's not to attack atheists because I believe that you know empirical data is necessary. Like a lot of people get into feelings and all this other nonsense. So I don't put them down, but I'm just saying always leave yourself open to possibilities of learning more, especially when you don't know everything. That's the point.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's get into this.
Hmm.
Um, I was going to wait for Jabari, but he's busy, so he'll come back in when he's ready. Basically, it works like this. The reason why we are nationalists, the reason why we push nationhood, and we talk about land and we talk about infrastructure, is because that's the basis of job creation. See, simple. And I'm not even a scholar. That's the basis of job creation. Now you ask, well, why? Why is that the basis of job creation, Hala? Well, let's look at this. Let's just take one aspect of infrastructure. Building roads. Um, what does it take for you to build roads? Well, you need people, right? You need workers. So you need blue collar workers who actually do the construction, and then you have white collar workers that actually do the administration, the paperwork, the organizing, and all of that. So those are two forms of jobs that's created: blue collar jobs and white collar jobs,
Hmm.
just off the road itself. Now, what comes with that? Well, if you go to work, You have to get there, right? That creates transportation. So jobs can be created by people who supply transportation to the people who's trying to get to work. When you're at work and you're working, you need to eat. That's another form of jobs creation because you're going to have restaurants or people who sell food that the workers go to and buy so they can eat. So you're creating that industry. Obviously, the workers have to get clothes, work boots. Somebody has to produce those, right? You see how many things are created, and that's just a sample. How many things are created from just the saying we're going to build roads in our nation?
Exactly. That right there is hundreds of jobs.
Right.
And
Now,
that's
let's talk
just
about, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Let's talk about an airport. Um, we don't, well, luckily for us, we don't have to build an airport. We just have to renovate it because already have an airport in Liberia. So let's say we go about the process of renovating that airport. Um, Same situation. You need workers, right? You need people to actually do the paving of the runways and all that other stuff. So you have blue collar jobs created, and whenever you have blue collar job, you have white collar jobs because somebody has to handle the administration, the day to day operations. How many jobs are those at an airport?
That's thousands of jobs.
And not to mention, if you have an airport of your own, how many businesses are inside of that airport?
Exactly.
When you guys go check into go through the check-in process, you usually go in and there's a restaurants, like a food court. There's like all types of businesses inside of the airport.
I mean, let's think about I'm going to try and list off as many uh professions or jobs that I typically see when I go to the airport.
Mm-hmm.
So you see bag handlers, you see ticket takers, you see security,
Mm-hmm.
you see pilots, uh, maintenance. Like you said, the people that work in the restaurants. We're at 6 right now. So when you look at that's 6 different jobs, and there are at a given time 100 of those people, per position. So we're talking about thousands upon thousands of jobs created when you have an active working um, airport. We're
Right.
talking about the people that work on the runway, air traffic control. We're talking about the people who just keep the infrastructure of the airport going. We have engineers. There's so many positions that you would have to fill at an airport. So there you
And
go.
entrepreneurial
Oh, absolutely.
opportunities because
Absolutely.
when you're in the airport, one of the things that I see people selling in the airport is the neck pillows.
Yep.
They have whole stores created to that. There's an entrepreneurial opportunity.
Absolutely.
There-
Newsstands.
yeah,
There is countless, absolutely countless numbers of jobs that would be created in a working, thriving airport.
those are jobs that can be. And let's talk about maintenance, maintaining the airport, cleaning it. Those are jobs. Like you said, it's like all of these things are produced, and we're not even scratching the surface. These are just the
At,
ones that we are mentioning.
at all. We haven't talked about the people that are going to the upkeep of the airplanes, the upkeep of the conveyor belts. There's so many different jobs. There's thousands of jobs in itself at an airport that we don't even see. There are
Right,
things happening behind the scenes that we don't even see, that we don't even know is actually happening.
right.
Somebody has to keep those flights going up and down that board. There are so many positions available at an airport, and if we can't see that that's how industries are created. But then again, like I said on a previous live, Black people don't understand what goes into these things because we've never been taught.
Right.
If we're not seeking out this information, we don't know. And unfortunately, some people just don't think on that scale. We're
Right, which is understandable.
It's absolutely understandable because
Mhm.
we're trying to live our lives. We're trying to make sure that we have food on the table, that we can do what we need to do to live. So those things are not something that is just in the forefront of our thinking process.
But let's build on that because I want to get into that because I believe that that represents the average person. So, and I mentioned this briefly on the last live stream. Let's look at your personal life. Let's say you're a person in the city. I'll use New York because that's where I am. If you're in New York City, more than likely you're in an apartment and you're paying rent. Who are you paying rent to?
The landlord,
Who owns the building? Usually not a black person.
right?
Um, when you go to work and you get on the train or whatever, or you have a car. If you're well, I won't say a car because in New York that's a luxury.
Right.
Or when you get into your job, um, the way that you get there, you usually get a Metro card or you take a Uber or whatever. So your feed. That's how those people are being employed. That's how they're making their money through you getting to work. When you're at work, like I said, you got to have breakfast, got to have lunch. Those people are benefiting from you being at your job because that's why they say, my position is that a person who works a 40-hour work week is a productive member of society.
Exactly.
So why shouldn't that person who's working and being productive be paid a living wage? And that living wage be tied to cost of living. You know what I'm saying? And productivity.
Absolutely.
Why?
It,
That person is actually the working class people. If not for them, there wouldn't be so many social programs.
exactly.
Those social programs are off the back of people who get up and go to work for 40 hours or more a week. So those people should be paid a living wage. And if you can't afford, and I know because listen, I'm not rich, but when I do my productions, all of the workers get paid more than a living. They don't get paid minimum wage. They get paid more than that. And that's just me. So a lot of the reason why people say they can't afford to pay people is because they're ripping the people off.
Exactly. And I want to just alley oop off of that. If there is a government that is not paying their citizens a living wage, that is such a huge problem because we're right now talking about the United States. We're in a inflation crisis, and they're still arguing whether or not they need to up the minimum wage, which means you are dooming that lower class citizen to being homeless without food, and then you'll have to take care of them anyway. So
Right.
it
If they
just
don't have
doesn't
a
make
living
any
wage,
sense. No, they do not.
because I don't even care about a minimum wage because as far as I'm concerned, that's a nonsensical. That's like what's a maximum wage?
Right. But the minimum wage, and I'm going to say, like, the fact that the minimum wage hasn't increased according to inflation, that just goes to show how much the country, the government actually cares about their citizen.
Right. Yeah, it should be
I'm
federally
back,
mandated.
y'all.
Peace.
Peace.
I'm
Peace.
back. I
Welcome
had to take
back.
care of something. I'm back now.
All right. So you want to jump in or
Yes, sure.
okay, go for it.
Um, so I did I did a brief TikTok video. By the way, follow me on TikTok. I like to promote myself. But I did a TikTok video and it was talking about black spending power. And I want to address this because oftentimes people say, well, we can create so many jobs. We have this spending power, this $1.2 trillion spending power. And if black people were their own country, we would be one of the richest countries in the world. And I had to address that that's based on misinformation for a couple of reasons. The first major reason is that when you are trying to calculate the overall economic well-being, there are numerous indicators that you use. You use the Gini index to determine inequality. You use the economic human development index to indicate overall human development. You use GDP to measure the total amount of goods produced in a country, and even then you got subcategories of GDP: actual GDP, potential GDP, real GDP, which is the real GDP, nominal GDP, just the GDP of a country. When you put it in US dollars, that's why we say GDP nominal, and then we put GDP purchasing power parity, which is actually what it's like to live in that country when you adjust to the currencies that they have. When we talk about GDP, one of the things that people don't, and this is what I mean by our leaders are not really leaders because they don't understand how things work, how to break things down. GDP has 4 components: business investment, personal consumption, government expenditure, and net export. Okay. And remember what I said, GDP, which stands for gross domestic product, is the total number of goods and services produced within a country or with a defined territory. You cannot have a GDP if you're not a defined territory. You cannot have a GDP because I cannot calculate your net export. I cannot calculate your government expenditures. So 2 components of GDP cannot be calculated because I simply don't know. You don't have a defined territory. I can base off of, I can say, oh, well, I could use personal consumption, but even then, that is a misconception because consumption is based off of income, and income is not wealth. When you spend money, most people are using income when they spend money. Income is not wealth. Income is the money you make off of your labor. So when you go work at a company, you are selling your labor. In return, you're getting a wage. I come to you, or salary. I come and work at Food Lion, or I work at Popeyes or Waffle House. I'm working, I'm exchanging my labor. In return, you're paying me a wage. That is a relationship between the owner and the worker, or what we would say, the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, if you are studying Marxist theory. Wealth is your asset minus your liability. If I were to take your assets, all that you own, and I was subtracted from your liability, debt, whatever that leftover is, that is what we would classify as wealth. But what is wealth? Wealth are assets, and assets are things such as intellectual property, land, minerals, trademarks. All of those comprise what we consider to be assets. That's why you got tangible assets and you got intangible assets. Wealth can be created at an individual level for an individual person. But key word, that's an individual person. If you're talking about wealth collectively, that is a government structured thing. Wealth on a collective level is created by government policy. Because the economy functions as a system. When we think of capitalism, we think of socialism, we think of communism, we think of syndicalism. All of these are mercantilism. All of these systems, or barter, all of these things are systems. These are economic systems. They have to be structured. And so in order for that to be structured, you have to have institutions and a government to facilitate that. We talked about, oh, white people have all this wealth because we understand the historical aspect. The Homestead Act, FHA loans given by the government, the GI Bill. All of these were government policies instituted to collectively build that white middle class and allow that white wealth to accumulate, especially during the 60s and 70s. Now, in the 80s, we all know we have something called Reaganomics. Okay. Now, Reaganomics has always been there. We call it Reaganomics because Reagan made it popular, but it was way beforehand with business leaders back in the Republican Party, especially Northern Republicans in the 1930s, 1940s. Thomas Dewey, Herbert Hoover. I mean, that Reaganomics is something that's been there for a little quite long time. It's just Reagan made it more popular, and Reagan maybe went more to an extreme end, which is why we call it Reaganomics. But that was a system. That was a system where you had, if you cut taxes, if you eliminate government involvement, government spending, the economy is going to shoot off, it's going to boom, and you're going to have this middle class. But even with that, Reaganomics, government policy and government structure shaped the modern world that would be passed on to the Bill Clintons, the George W. Bushes, and the Barack Obama in what we call neoliberalism. The Reaganomics is when neoliberalism starts to go full throttle. And so that's when you have these jobs being shipped overseas, and you see rising income inequality. You see wages becoming stagnant because those are government policies, structural policies that shape and dictate an economy. Again, you can have individual success. I'm not saying you can't have individual success, but if you are trying to collectively live Black people, that is going to take a structural adjustment, a systematic adjustment. You're not talking about individual Black people. We are talking about Black people as a collective, not individuals. And as a collective, that there are different circumstances that I have to account for. You know, how am I going to build wealth for people who are in the Black lower class who may not have white collar jobs? Black farmers who may not have access to markets or may not have access to farming equipment.
Ooh,
all of this stuff is. Go ahead.
I want to ask you something because you just made an excellent point. Do you know how, like, when they say assets, do you count income from your job as an asset? No.
No.
You know, and
No.
actually, do you know what the minimum amount they say that you need to have an estate?
At least $1 million.
No, not quite that much. Just over 100,000. You got to have 6 figures.
Yep.
In assets. How many Black folks in America have $100,000 in assets?
Very few. Like maybe like 5-10%.
Right.
Yep.
So people need to really understand that when they say assets, they're not talking about your salary.
And also, that goes back to knowing what these words and these terms actually mean. Stop going according to what, social media is telling you about how you build wealth, and also actually dive deep into what it means to have assets. And it's very important to know these things. Yeah, wealth is a completely different animal than what you have in your bank account. That's completely separate.
Mm-hmm.
Or
and
what
another
you're
thing
earning on your job. Those are completely, because wealth means that this is something, a large amount of money or products or properties that you don't have to touch on your day-to-day life. It's something that's completely separate from the money that you handle on a day-to-day basis. That's what wealth is. So we have to really pay attention to what the wordings that are being used.
And I want to also address the point is that wealth is also an indicator of stability. When we determine whether or not you are economically stable, we are referring to your income. I mean, not your income, your wealth. When we are determining whether or not you are stable as an individual, we look at your wealth, your assets, because what I'm going to look at, let's say you don't have a job and you need to pay for something. Okay, if you don't have a source of income, but you have wealth, you can pull from your liquid assets to cover it, to cover emergencies, to cover situations that might come up. Income, if you're only relying on income, if that source of income gets cut off, you're gonna be in a financial duress. So that is why the biggest determinant of whether or not you are stable is wealth. It is your liquid asset. When you compare, yeah, black people make a $60,000 in income, for example, but I can make this point. Okay, black people make $60,000, $70,000 a year, but a black person on average has about wealth of about $1,200 or $2,000. That's not liquid assets.
Right.
That's not a lot of liquid assets. Yes, you're making a lot of income, but you have little to no wealth. Right. And that is a huge difference. You can be poor and be wealthy. You can be rich and be straight up broke and wealthy.
Right.
You know, let's think about, let's give an example of that. Do you remember when Left Eye talked about how TLC was the number one selling group in the United States, probably the world at the time, and they were absolutely flat broke?
Mm-hmm.
Because they did not they actually, for that first album, those first couple of albums actually, Left Eye said that they were probably paid $5,000 a piece. Okay, they bought them houses, they bought them cars, and actual cash in hand, I believe, was $5,000 a piece.
What, a week or something? Or a month?
No, all together.
What? Wait.
Left Eye did an interview about it. She did an interview about it, how they robbed them. She said that
$5,000 a year?
no, $5,000 period. They bought them houses and cars, and the only actual cash that they received was about $5,000. That's why TLC was
insane.
broke. So
Not
they're
only
touring.
broke, weren't they like? Didn't they owe?
Oh yeah, they were all. I believe they all had to file bankruptcy at some point. But this is what I'm saying. You're looking at it from who, like, what you see. Because Jabari mentioned, you could be making all this money and still be flat broke. They had absolutely no assets. Not only did they not receive any money, they didn't have anything to even fall back on in reference to assets to even sell so that they could be back in the black. Mm. So these things are, perception of wealth is one thing, and then actually having actual wealth is a completely, totally different thing. Mm. So that's what we have to pay attention to, and we have to know exactly what wealth is. And a lot of people don't know what it is.
That is crazy. But I remember there was I forget the name of this group. But they said that everybody talks about going platinum as if that's so great. And they said that them going platinum really did nothing for them.
No.
It helped everybody else. It helped out the record company. And just so you can say I went platinum, but in terms of tangible, results or assets from what you did, the only people that benefited from it was the record company. So they say, so everybody talks about going platinum like that's some big deal. It's like it doesn't really do anything for the artist.
Okay, so they're asking that we answer Barudi's question.
I'll answer Barudi's question, but I want to get to.
Let me go back up. Hold on.
He actually,
but I want to address.
Just to say, he asked
a few
awesome questions. Yes.
This is the first one. You want to handle that one?
Yeah, I'll answer that. But the first one I want to say real quick is that and when we talk about when we're talking about stability and we talk about economics, is that what we don't tend to understand about wealth and income and the assets and all that is that's the reason why a lot of people engage in scams like Bitcoin, NFT. We see all of these scams. Why? Because they're thinking at an individual level and not a structural level. For example, workers would rather spend their time, and it's changing, thank goodness, but workers would rather spend more time trying to come up with scams instead of collectively, structurally saying, we're going to strike, we're going to reduce our labor, we're going to do all this stuff until we get our piece of the pie, unionized. We're doing individual approaches to structural problems. And you wonder why people are doing all of these scams. You wonder why you see everywhere you go today a Bitcoin scam, Robin scam. We saw what happened with the dude that got arrested in the Bahamas. We're seeing all of this because we're trying to find individual solutions to structural problems.
Let me just make a slight correction, because just because I know we get eaten up by people if they hear this. Bitcoin is not the scam. Cryptocurrency is the scam. Bitcoin is separate. Yeah, Bitcoin is separate. Like that's legit. But there's a lot of people that are making cryptocurrency scams based off of the Bitcoin. So I'll just make that slight correction.
Okay, thank you for correcting me on that. But that is really what it comes down to. To answer your point about the U.S. Africa Summit, I would say this. This is my personal perspective on that U.S. Africa Summit. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. We got reports that the Congo and the DRC, I mean, not the Congo, the Congo DRC are the same thing, but the Congo and Zambia are willing to let the U.S. mine their cobalt and copper resources that we're getting. And the Zambian president, now that I found out, he was the one who said we should stop working with China and working with the IMF and using the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. That right there told me who this man really is. And that to me was a huge red flag. But the U.S. Africa Summit was a joke. They're only doing it. Why? Because what China has been making influence in gains in the region, so as well as Russia. So like, oh my God, they're making influence in things. It's not that they give a damn. I mean, if they really care, they would have done this long before.
Okay. I want to just hit on, I see 3 awesome questions from Baruti. And the first one is actually listed. You're asking whether or not the BAIO could use some of that $55 billion for infrastructure for Liberia. We would have to get some type of support from the Liberian government. And because we can't just say, hey, we're part of the Liberian government, the BAIO, and give us some money so we could build the infrastructure. We would have to come with plans. We'd have to come with, the people, the engineers, everybody that's going to execute said building of the infrastructure. But we would definitely have to have access to the government and have their support to get that done. I don't know if that's something that would happen right now, present day.
Can we, address the fact that $55 billion for Africa?
Africa for
is not a lot of money.
The entire continent of Africa. Let's address that. When they are sending billions of dollars over to Israel on a yearly basis, billions of dollars.
55 billion for the entire continent, yet Israel is getting 30 billion.
Yes. Okay.
30 billion a year, I believe, over 10 years.
Right.
Some crazy amount of money.
So that was the first one that I wanted to address. Secondly, I saw your comment, Brother Baruti, asking if it is commonplace for people or Black Americans to make $70,000 a year and only have $2,000 in wealth. That's absolutely
That's
accurate.
what you call a layup question.
Right. That's absolutely accurate.
Who wants to dunk it? You want
Black
Duncan Jabari? Or you
We don't.
Halima?
Simple. It's yes, because other groups have their own governments and they have their own resources they can pull up from. We don't.
I'm gonna
That's
I'm
it.
gonna I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna go a little bit deeper into that. Other ethnicities, Asians, Hispanics, they have a community. They have a community where their money passes amongst one another. Um, they have there's so many different reasons and layers as to why Black people don't do it. We've been taught not to trust one another, so 9 times out of 10 we don't want to go to other Black people to get services and goods. And if we do go to them, we attempt to lowball them, whereas
Ooh.
we will not do that to other ethnicities. Whatever they say it is, that's what it is. Okay.
I also want to say this. I want to also add to your point about other communities that we don't understand. Other people like when you have black people say these immigrants come here and they bring these and they try to act American and all that stuff, right? They're trying to assimilate. Here's the thing: other immigrant groups don't have a history the way that we do in America. Okay, it would just be like this, right? As an African American, me going to study abroad in South Africa, I saw South Africa as being like heaven on earth. Like I was like, there's everything here. It's a black majority country and all that stuff. But I'm saying that because I don't have a history of apartheid. My family was never dealt with apartheid. So when I'm coming here, I'm trying to live the South African dream, but that's because I don't have that history behind me. Okay, of my family having to get their land taken or getting disappeared by the police, the South African police under apartheid, or having to deal with the Sharpeville mass. Like you have to understand that factor as well. They don't have the extra economic and social inequality history the way that Black Americans have. Okay, so when you compare other groups, they're able to thrive because they don't have that history there. Okay, you have to understand that they don't have that collective history. Just like if I pulled up in South Africa, like I said, and I'm saying it's heaven on earth. Well, it's heaven on earth for you because you ain't had that history. You chose to come here, and that's
Mhm.
also a different thing. That's why they're all successful here. They chose to come here. There's a difference when you chose to choose to be somewhere, and you were forced to come somewhere. They're two different things.
Let's think
You
about it this way. I'm sorry, Jabari, but just think about what you just said. You said South Africa was heaven on earth for you, but the South Africans that come to the United States, or the South Africans that hear you state that, they say you don't understand what we went through. And the Africans that come to the United States, they believe that the United States is the land of milk and honey. Like this is the end all be all because they don't have to go through what we go through. And even though there's absolute racism against Black people, regardless to where you come from in the United States, a South African that comes to the United States is treated differently than someone who was born here. And they don't understand what we go through on a daily basis as Black people in the United States of America.
I
So,
gotta
and
speak
it
on
goes
that.
back and forth. You understand what I'm saying? And that's them keeping us separate and apart, making us think that we are different from one another because we're treated differently on either continent.
I got to speak on that because this is where we get down into the nuts and bolts of what the problem is. You're talking about people, children of white folks. So the way that you approach reality is going to be vastly different. That's why people wonder, why do people from other countries come here and become successful so fast, yet Black people have been here for so long and they haven't done it? It's because you got one person coming from a culture where certain things are instilled in them.
Yep.
It's just on an unconscious level. And then you got another people coming from a situation of discrimination, racism, poverty, and all the negative things that you can think of. And then you just throw them out into the world and say, all right, be successful. And then you wonder why we get the results that we get. It's like that analogy that I made about the tenant and the landlord. There's a difference between how they view reality because there's a different level of responsibility. The tenant is only concerned about what's going on in their apartment. They pay the rent, and as long as the electricity is on, the gas is working, and they can cook, they fine. They don't have to deal with building codes. They don't have to deal with maintenance. They don't. There's a whole plethora of things that a landlord has to deal with that a tenant has no clue. They just live in their life. And that's Black folks in America. Like, one of the things that Black folks aren't taught is, how do you get assets in America? Now, of course, I'm being very flippant with this, because I know this is not as simple as it sounds. But one of the ways that people get access in Black folks get access in America is through real estate. They purchase a property. Most of the time, if they're smart, they purchase a multifamily property, because if you purchase a multifamily property, you have people that you can rent out to that's actually paying the mortgage. So that's one way that people, like, a lot of people have taken that route so they can avoid or retire early or whatever, so they don't have to work, because they can actually make their money through their, the people paying the rent and taking care of the mortgage, and then they have the excess left over that they can bank and whatever. That's just one way. But who are we taught that? Is that a part of our culture?
No.
You have to get in a specific circle of people who's doing that in order for you to even know that that's even happening. Because most of us are taught through mainstream to buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
But a house doesn't make you any money.
And
you
on
spend
top,
a lot of money with a house. But a house is not bringing in income.
I would say this: a house does make you money, but here's the difference. When we look at even between Black and white neighborhoods, right? When Black people come into a neighborhood, the properties instantly get devalued. Minute Black folks leave that neighborhood, property values go up. Why? The government and economic structures. Everything comes back to government and economic structures. People want to pretend like, oh, if I buy a home, that's it. No, Black people buy homes and the properties instantly go down.
Oh yeah. Let me clarify what I mean when I say houses don't make you money. I'm talking about bringing in income on a monthly basis. Houses do make you money, because if you have, like what Jabari is stating, if the property value is high, then when you sell your house, you make the money.
Right.
When you flip. So I just want to be clear on that.
In addition to that, it's also the fact that Black people are overcharged for properties. Their mortgages typically are more expensive than white people, and these are systemic things that happen every single day. Their houses are vastly undervalued. There were a couple of Black couples that attempted to get their houses appraised, and one house was appraised almost $60,000 less than it would actually was. And they had their white co-worker come in, take all the Black everything out of the house, and then the next appraiser appraised it almost 50% more. Like, these are things that happen every single day, and this is the reason why we say we can't do this here, because every system that would garner us wealth is actually actively working against us.
Which it should. And let's be clear on that. As it should, because this is their country. Just like I made that example at the beginning, if we had the same situation in a hypothetical where it's our country and there was 13% of white people in our country, if they helped to nominate our president of our country, what are they getting out of it? That president is going to work in our interest. And if it benefits them, it'll be incidentally. He's not there to represent their interests. He's there to represent the interests of the company.
Even then, it all goes back to the point of what people don't people are unaware of their situations, and people just base it off of their personal experience instead of understanding systematically and collectively, right? Even if we have 13% of those non-minority people who would be non-Black, they ain't got the history of us redlining them, us cutting off their electricity, burning down their towns. they wouldn't have that history. So for them to be like, yeah, we can easily just come over here and just support y'all. I mean, we ain't got no beef. Like, what beef we finna have? Like, it ain't like what we redline them. It ain't like we deny them loans. So it's like, but people just love using their own personal experience, and it's like, bruh, you comparing us in the United States when you came here voluntarily again, like people don't realize that you came here voluntarily, brother. If you were so successful, why didn't you stay in Nigeria or why didn't you stay in Cameroon? Why didn't you stay in India or Indonesia where you originally were? Hey, you're comparing somebody who's born here and you're mad and you get mad at us for saying we don't like this system. You like the system because you're choosing to come into the system. You're choosing to come into that system. We did it. So of course you can't do nothing here. We didn't build the system, and the system was specifically geared against us. You choosing to come in here, you get to just put yourself right into that system. It's like a puzzle. You get to put your piece right into that puzzle. We ain't got no piece of the puzzle that fits. So
For sure. For sure. I agree with that, and I don't. And this might sound like a pushback, but let me say it like this. Being that we are very familiar with this system and we've been in this system for centuries, I do think that Black Americans are in a special position to actually do things in America and abroad that are unprecedented. But we are just been made so dumb, and we're so used to being let me say, how can I say it? Let's just say confused and running around discombobulated, that's our norm. We operate like that on our norm. We say stuff like, well, you can come here and you don't have the experience that we do and everything else. And that's a fact. That is a very important fact. But what's also an important fact is that we do have opportunities here now. That is a fact. We could talk about how we don't and yes, we do. Sure, it's harder. Sure, we're going to get pushback. Sure, people are going to be in our way. But damn it, we still have the opportunity. There's too many people who have made it out of this system for us to act like we can't. But where we seem to struggle is that we don't want to work hard for it. It's like, yeah, we can do this, but it's so basically what we're saying is that it's so hard. But they're going to be in the way. They're going to try to block us. They're going to try to stop us. They might even try to kill us. All I can say to that, as long as we're here, so fucking what? It's either we're going to accept that we can't do nothing and bend the knee, like my big brother keeps saying. We're going to accept that and bend the knee and just say, okay. Or we're going to do everything in our human power to get ourselves first and our people out of this situation. I believe that we can. Everything that we talking about is everything that last thing, big brother. Everything that we saying is spot on though. Black Americans, while we are special, we are also especially mistreated. That's a fact. That is a fact. However, I know that if we put our mind to it, those of us who really want to, we can get our people up out of this, man. Those are people who want to come. We can get our people up out of this, and we will. We damn will, man. We have to.
See, the issue is how do we approach reality? Are we approaching reality as an individual? Are we thinking about the collective? See, I know where you're coming from. You're coming from the perspective of the collective. When you say our people,
for sure.
The problem is America is not really about that. It's about like if you're an individual in America, you can really be successful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just look at all the successful Negroes that we have in America. In terms of making money and having success, you can do that as an individual. The problem comes on a systemic
collectively.
level.
Yes,
that's what the problem. Like when you, all right, I'll give you the perfect example is Ye. 1 minute you're worth $1 billion, 60 seconds later, half your wealth is gone.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? It's like we don't approach things from a systemic standpoint.
Because he was a one-man army.
Right.
See, the real issue is that it's just not the right one. It's not the right one of us with money. That's what's going on. The right ones of us with money, they are doing stuff. They just funneling it and doing it different way. I'm gonna tell you somebody it's so many of us doing big things. Master P. When you talk about a brother who's doing things to actually make moves in America for Black people, research Master P. Look up any interview from Master P in the last 5 years, man. That is somebody who is a great example of somebody who's not just trying to be on TV, not trying to be in the executive booths with NFL owners and trying to look like he's doing something special. The dude is very special, man, and he's been special since the 90s.
Yep,
period.
That's true.
So
And I
the
want to
issue is
also,
that this is the issue. Umoja needs millions. Halib needs millions. Jabari needs millions so we can start playing and learning these different languages. We just need to get into these rooms and these spots. That's all. And what's going to get us there is money.
yeah.
That's what's going to get us there. Not talking, not making people feel good, not these emotional rants. No. It's money. And we're going to get this money. Please believe it. Please believe
And I
it.
want to, and I want to add, to the point of the working harder in America, right? Why not just? I'd rather just be like, listen, I'm just gonna assimilate because here's the thing that we don't understand, right? About that, right? Yeah, we understand you want to work harder, right? You should work hard. You should be the best that you can be. But there's something called the path of least resistance.
Yep.
If there are two paths for me to success, why am I going to go take the most difficult, most gut wrenching path of resistance when I could just walk a shortcut that other way and just get right where I need to be? Yes, we oftentimes talk about, oh, if you need to build toughness and all that stuff. But one of the laws of nature is they take the path of least resistance. Animals do the same thing. We do it for the most part. Why do you think people capitulate to the status quo? People want a path of least resistance. Folks don't want to have to go through an extremely difficult, gut-wrenching path because that wastes a lot of your energy, that wastes a lot of your time. You'd rather go the path that's going to use your energy efficiently, aka the path of least resistance. So if black folks got to work 2 or 3 times harder for us to build something in America, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I rat. No,
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm
And
not.
why you think we say bend the knee?
That's right. I want to make
Oh, I'm sorry.
no. I want to make a comment about the person who said that Chinatowns were burned down in the United States. China they were paid reparations for the ills that happened to them in the United States. We have to remember that first. Secondly, I just looked it up to confirm because I knew that there were some settlements in the United States for people of Chinese descent that were destroyed, burned down. The last one happened in 1906, and the Move settlement was burnt down in 1985. So let's really look at what we're saying. We're making mention to things that happened years and years ago, where the Move is still current history that just happened. So I completely understand that it did happen, and that happened in 1906 and 1985. So let's go ahead and look at those numbers and put that into perspective. And we also have to stop giving these people a pass when they mistreat us, because that's what that comment just did. It was basically giving a pass for the US government for continuing to hurt, harm, and maim Black people in this country. And then we go ahead, well, look what they did to these people. Those people were paid for what happened to them. Those people have a country that backed them up, and they got reparations for it. So
And
we could continue
also,
to bring
and
all of that stuff up, but the things that are happening to Black people, they're still happening to them present day. They are still
let me
lynching Black
address that point.
people.
Let me address that point.
One moment, Jabari. One moment. They're still lynching Black people today. They're still lynching them. They're still the police are still killing them. They are still taking their homes. I believe it is Detroit, where they are making the taxes so high on Black people's homes that they're taking their homes from them. And it's proven that the taxes were embellished on the state level, and they're not giving these people their homes back. So we could continue to talk about what happened to other people years ago, hundreds of years ago, but the things that are happening that we're mentioning to Black people, they're still happening current day in 2022. So if you want to compare it properly. Make sure that we're giving this information out in the correct context so that everything that we're mentioning is still happening to us today.
And also,
Why?
let me
Go ahead,
let me
Jabari.
say,
You've been waiting. Go ahead, Jay.
and let me say this, and let me say this again, right? When we talk about that yes, we know that the Chinatowns were burned down. Yes, we know that Asian Americans have had a history of discrimination, and they still face it. Here's the thing: there's something called levels to it. There's something called a hierarchy to things. Okay, yes, they face discrimination, but anti-Asian discrimination is not on the same level as anti-Black racism, or is not a cornerstone the way anti-Black racism is, where Black people are still facing what they're facing into a certain extent, higher extent. The number one group of people that get hate crimes based on race is anti-Black racism. Anti-Blackness is a major cornerstone. Again, that's not to deny somebody's thing, but you have to, again, like you said, you got to put things in context. Even when we talk about 1906, what happened in with Chinese in Chinatown, that also happened to Italians. That also happened to many other European immigrant groups that came into America early on in the 1900s that way. But guess what? They had the ability to assimilate. They had the ability to change. They were able to get that model minority status. That never happened with us. So please just be aware of it. Just be cognizant of it.
It's just really disheartening and disingenuous to make those statements. That's just the same thing I stated about Black on Black crime. When these things happen to Black people, unless it's a Black person committing the crime against another Black person, 9 times out of 10, there's no justice in reference to it. Okay.
Let me.
And in addition, white people do the Black on Black trope is just ridiculous because white people kill white people at a higher level. So when you say things like that, that's exactly what you are basically stating. So
Let me say something. Let me interject something, please. My issue with even caring about racism, about even caring about Black people being biased against, is that we don't do shit about it. Let me explain. What the Black agenda is complaining about how poor Black people is. The Black agenda is complaining about how white people in control. The Black agenda is talking about how other races are being treated better. The Black agenda is talking about how other races are developing industries, developing employment for their people, developing communities for their people in America. That's the Black agenda, is to keep fucking talking about what everybody else doing like we haven't been here for 500 fucking years being fucked. Nigga, we know every system. We know how to run a McDonald's. We know how to fucking wire up a fucking house. We know how to fucking build a fucking house, but we do that shit for everybody else. We need to shut the fuck up. And we need to start telling niggas to shut the fuck up. If you come in here talking about some Black shit and you ain't talking about doing everything on our fucking own, shut the fuck up, nigga, and bend the knee. Straight the fuck up. That's what time it is, because we do all this talking, but when it's time to put the fucking rubber to the road, niggas disappear, man. Unless we talking about some dick and pussy, niggas disappear. Period. We could even be talking about money. Niggas disappear. Nigga, unless we talking about getting high and fucking, we don't want to talk about it. That's the truth. We need to get real, man. We do all this talking, nigga. We have everything. We have the knowledge. We have financial people. We have construction people. We have mathematicians. We have engineers. What are we building of our own together? We talking. We fucking talking about our problems. We know our problems. We know the fucking problems. Let's walk in the solutions, man. That's the problem. That's why people keep slapping us. Because every time somebody slaps us, we turn around and say, look, man, you see how they keep slapping us? No one ever says, hey, who the fuck slapped my partner? Who slapped my partner? Who ready to get fucked up about slapping Mo? Who ready to get fucked up? No one does that. We just say, look, you see that? They keep slapping us. And this time, their hand was 13 inches long. That shit hurt. That's what we do. Instead of saying, fuck that. Everybody who slaps any one of us, they getting their hand chopped off. That's what other races do, y'all. And I'm not talking about violently. Politically, stop voting. Financially, stop fucking paying for these people. Let's organize a fucking walkout day. That's effective, man. That's effective activism. The fucking sit-ins, the fucking march, they was effective with that shit, man. Because they had a purpose. We don't do shit. We don't do shit but a hashtag and think that we gonna do and think that shit's gonna change. Nah, man. We have to do something by force, not by speech.
You know, when you say that, I think that our force is building our own nation state and taking whatever money we were putting into this system out of it.
Bing, 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 bing.
But see, here's the difference. Here's the difference. And even then, with today compared to the past, one of the differences is that, again, we have such an individualistic mentality here today. But also back in the day, people coordinate. So you wonder why things can't be done. Ain't nobody coordinating. Ain't nobody sitting down like we all have a roundtable discussion, dinner, and say, listen, okay, here's the course of action that we got planned. This is how it's going to be.
Speak on it, Bari. Speak on it, Bari.
Let me schedule that's going to get done.
Jabari,
there ain't no roundtable. All we do is go on Twitter.
Bari, let me just interject this and please keep going. You just said that we do not coordinate and organize when we have the ability to coordinate and organize from here to fucking Antarctica. Just think about that. Go ahead.
I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to prove a point because what Jamo just said about the answer to these questions when a Black Power American and a militant integration ask it. But I'm going to ask this question to our president, Yamoja, just to show you how simple the answer is when you ask us. President Yamoja, you there?
I'm still here, brother. I'm still here. Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Please.
What is the Black agenda?
In America, there is no Black agenda in America.
No. I'm asking as a BAIO, a representative of the BAIO, what is the Black agenda for us?
To procure land in Africa, to develop infrastructure on that land, and to create a nation of our own that is in control by the Black diaspora.
I think you answered that.
That is the Black agenda.
I think that was less than 30
that is the
seconds.
that is what we talk about. That is what we plan. That is what we're visiting Africa for next year. That is what we visited Africa for in 2024. That is what we building with Liberia Forward for. That is our goal. That is our mission, day in and day out.
He actually had enough. Hold on 1 second. He had enough time to answer the question and actually add some more to it. So that was under 30 seconds. Yep. Next question, because I'm doing this for a reason. President Yamoja, what is the end game for Black folks in America?
The end game for Black folks in America, I would say, would be to keep voting and hope that president change something.
No. I'm not talking about them. I'm asking you as a representative of the BAIO, us. When I ask you that question, I say, what is the end game for Black folks in America? What would you say?
I would honestly say death. I would say death. Just death.
I don't think he's understanding.
What is the end game for the Black Africans in America who are members of the BAIO? What's our end game?
I don't understand the question. I don't think about America. For real, I don't think about America. I don't.
All right, we're in America right now, right?
Yeah.
What is our end game as BAIO members?
Land infrastructure and nationhood. Get the hell out of here.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's the answer to the question.
Okay.
We're not speaking for 42 million people. Hollop is just making a point that we are speaking for the BAIO members.
Let me say something to this. Let me say something to this. I don't know who posted it, but somebody posted something and said like they said something like a leader a leader like takes people to where they want to go. And then it says, but a good leader takes people where they know they need to go, man. Where they know they need to go. So when you say you can't speak for 42 million black people, see, but the reality is that every 42 million of those black people could be caught on an intersection and pulled over and killed just because they black. That's a fact. For every 42 million of them people, every child, if they do the wrong crime, they will get convicted of a felony and charged as an adult, and their lives will be ruined just because they're black. Nothing else. We're not talking about nothing else. Therefore, it is imperative that we get our people away from here. Now, just because somebody might think that they live in their best lives here and they don't care, they don't see that, that's fine. However, similar to the Jews, you know that Jews wanted to stay in Germany. Most of the Jews didn't want to leave. They wanted to stay there because that was quote unquote their home, right? But they have Israel now. They do have a place of their own. So that's what we're saying. We don't give a damn how you feel, man, because we see what we see. Right. And y'all don't have to come. We're not speaking for everybody, but we know that our problems, we share these problems. And one of our issues is that we can't come together with a shared vision because we want to keep this. We're not a monolith. We're not a monolithic people and all this stuff. Cool. But we monolithically get fucked, man.
Yo,
so that's why we're saying that we need to get away.
Also, can I say this? Where were the Jews when they were offering the Jewish people Israel? Where were the Jews that were saying, oh, we're not going, or don't go? Or no, they let the ones who wanted to go, and they lived their lives separately away from them. And they never said anything negative about it. If it was something said, it was said on a small scale.
Can I please address this point, because I'm more in depth to speak on this than anybody on this thing about this thing, because I'll be following Israeli politics close. Yes, there are many American Jews that have a close relationship with the state of Israel and even advocate on Israel. Most American Jews have never been to Israel, and most of them don't want to go to Israel. So, but Israel still exists, and American Jews will call out Israeli Jews about the crap that they're doing in Israel.
But what I'm saying is they didn't try to stop them from going there.
They
didn't try and stop them. They allowed that nation to come to fruition, to thrive, and to do whatever they needed to do. They can speak out against them, absolutely, but it's not done on a large scale. It's not done on a large scale.
You have to be a sick individual to sit up there and be able to say, yes, I see that my people is really not treated well here. Yes, I see. I'm gonna just say that my people are treated so messed up here. However, when you tell me that I can go to a place where I'm free, where I'm around my people, where I'm in control of everything, the first thing that comes to my mind is, but damn, that seems so hard. But damn, what about bugs? I mean, whatever you think about, you let all of those doubtful thoughts trump everything that happens going on over here. I cannot understand that. I understand it, but I refuse to sit up there and make my mind go to that level where I have to talk to somebody like that.
I want to address something, because this is important. It's important that we understand debate tactics, and so we know how to respond to them. Have you guys ever debated a psychology major?
Yes.
What psychology majors do, and I always point this out when it comes to debating, is they have points that lead to nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Usually when you have support that thesis, psychology majors don't debate the thesis, they debate points. So they throw out points that lead to nowhere. The equivalent of, all right, I'll give you an example. You can't speak for 42 million black people, bro. How can you know what everyone thinks? What point is that? What thesis is that supporting?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a point, a meaningless point. It's like you're arguing points, and it's leading to nowhere. Because why am I raising that? What point, what is my overall goal in raising that supporting point? You see what I'm saying? So this is why we have to avoid these type of debate
And
tactics.
also, here's the point,
So
and here's the point I'm gonna say. Here's the point I'm gonna say because I have to eventually. I gotta leave in like a few. One of the things is the agenda is not set by 42 million black people. The agenda is set by the people who want to set the agenda. There's the
Right.
reason why there's something called a driver's seat. Because if you have 40, if we were speaking for all 42 million black people, we'd have 42 million or like a thousand different solutions or suggestions. Not everybody's going to have the same solution. We know that. We know we don't speak for 42 million black folks, but we want to direct the energy of these millions of black people into this. Because remember this, whenever, if you want people to do something, you got to give them a reason. You have to convince them. Okay, this is not like people are just going to make it themselves. Like when you are, if you are setting a vision or you want to win, you have to convince people. It's just like when I was back when I was in college and high school. When you have competition, you have to convince. That's what we're doing. We're not speaking for 42 million black folks. That's not our job. My goal is to share my vision and for you to follow my vision. You can either follow my vision or you don't have to. But my goal is not to speak for 42. We know we don't. We're trying to get them to see our vision. There'll be people that will follow us. There'll be people that won't follow us. It's called lay out the case and then let it be.
okay,
That's it.
I wanted to respond to a few of the comments in the chat. The first one is Brother Baruti. Man, I love you so much. Your questions are completely and totally on point. It says, what are the long-term goals of African immigrants in the USA? And I mean, as different than the overall goal of African Americans. If different, please explain and post it for comparison and contrast. I want to first say I'm not sure what their end goal is because I've never had a real conversation with an African immigrant in regards to
I can tell you.
what their okay, one moment. But what I could say is where end games are similar or the same at all. Because as I stated previously, we have two completely different perspectives on why we're here and whether or not we want to stay here. They came here by
Choice.
They came here by choice, and we did not. They came here probably to go to school or to make a higher wage, whereas we are here, and the majority of us feel like we're stuck here, and we have to just deal with whatever is happening. In regards to our end game in the BAIO, we've already mentioned that land infrastructure nationhood. We don't want to still be a part of this system. We don't want to be a part of this system because their system is completely and totally against us. So our end game is to leave. Our end game is to build a nation state. Our end game is to have our own nation where we can control the infrastructure. We can control the type of food that we eat. We can control the schools that our children go to. We can control every aspect of our life and our society. That is our end game.
Have someone invited Abdullah to come on so he could clear up this misunderstanding that we seem to be having?
I was going to speak to him.
If he wants to, maybe he has something that he wants to clear up.
He was actually not, he was going to be my next, that was going to be my next response.
Yes, ma'am.
Brother Abdullah, I'm not understanding, where your comment is coming from. We've already stated that we're not speaking for all of the 42 million Black people in the United States of America. Being that we are brothers and sisters who currently reside in the United States of America, we know that there's no active agenda for Black people. We know that there is no collective active agenda for Black people. If you are amongst Black people in the United States of America who have some sort of agenda, that is your collective agenda of that small group of people. So you would be speaking from that perspective. But all of us collectively do not have a specific agenda that we're working towards as a collective.
Let me
So
say
when
this to
we
that
say
agenda.
so when we say that there's no Black agenda in the United States of America for Black people, that is exactly what we mean. I
Abdullah,
can't I can't go to a different state and in the United States of America, walk up to a Black person and say, "What's the Black agenda for Black Americans in the United States of America?" And that person and I have the same exact response. That's not going to happen. But if you walk up to any other ethnicity that have their own country outside of the United States and they have their own culture, their own ethnicity, their own laws and government back at their home base, they basically can give you the same exact response. It may
let
be
me
worded differently, but the essence of what their agenda is going to be the same. We do
let,
not have that. And
let me make this point.
I don't care how much you want that to be the case. We have to stop living off of hopes and dreams and wishes and these utopian thoughts and processes that we have in our own minds and be completely and totally real with where we are as a people. We do
Let
not
me
have that.
let me say this. Let me say this. I want everybody listening to really think about when we say Black agenda. Think about when you see something publicly. 9 times out of 10, it is always either to get closer to white people, or it's literally something done by white people saying that it's for Black people. I hope I'm making sense when I say that. Again, when we talk about the Black agenda, it's usually, please, white people, let us get closer to you, i.e., equality, i.e., diversity. Or it's a program that's being rolled out that is completely from the minds of white people. It's never, particularly when it's something popular and national, it's never something that's out of the minds of a Black person, for Black people, for Black nationalism. It's always to get closer and stuck into America. That's always the Black agenda. Period. Period. Like there's never there's nothing outside of that. Whenever there's a Black agenda in America, it's always to stay your ass right here in America and become more American. That's all. It's never for self-sufficiency. Ever. That's what I'm talking about. We believe in doing it ourselves across the board. Across the board. That too. Yep. That too. The issue is, do you believe that we can? Whoever listening to this, honestly, do you believe that we can do everything by ourselves? If you don't, Umoja don't want to talk to you. Bye.
I love you so much. I'm just trying to look at the other comment that I wanted to talk about, but I mean, I'm good. I'm good there. I think I really think that we need to start thinking about, like I said, using the words that we use. We have to pay close attention to them. The words that we use and the sentiments that we have in reference to um, who we are and what we're doing. We have to pay close attention to that. An agenda and a collective agenda for 42 million people, we have to be serious about what we're saying. You know, we're not speaking for all Black people. We're speaking for members of the BAIO. And if you look at in the chat and on the persons who are on the live that have our emblem up, they have different states or countries on the bottom. BAIO, we have Liberia, we have Oregon, we have, so these people with these different emblems, they are members of the BAIO. We have our own satellite cities around. Somebody did say that, satellite cities or satellite locations around the world. So when we say we're talking for members of the BAIO, we're not even just talking about the members in the United States. We're talking about BAIO members around the world. So if you're talking about your little pocket of people in the United States, That is the agenda for that group of people.
I want to know what the three different movements are for nationhood in America. I didn't even know that there was anybody besides us that was pushing for nation. Well, maybe he's talking about the nation within a nation people.
Well, can somebody send him the link so he can come on and discuss this? I mean, if we don't know about it, then we can't speak on it either.
Oh,
I'm not going to
I
speak
know.
on something that I'm not privy to.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. I would say there's only two major nationhoods. It's either three. Yes, it's right. Nation within a nation. The black folks should have 5 southern states, and then you can count ours.
What are the? Is it 5 or 3?
I say it's 3.
It's 3. What are the
Yeah.
3 states that they feel we should have?
It's just 5 states, but the 5 state thing we should have is Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina.
Wait. So we're
that's
going
5.
to take. Repeat that again.
Yeah, they believe that we should have the 5 southern states of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina.
So 3 of the most undeveloped states with the worst infrastructure are the states that they're using. That's what they want to do.
Can I offer a suggestion to people who want to do that? The first thing that you should probably do is start an African American fund. Because you got, like you said, 42 million black folks in America. Let's round it out to 50, right? Approximately. And we've done the video on this before. Like, if we were to contribute $1 a day, we would have about $18 billion at the end of the year. And you can split that 18 billion up amongst those 5 states. Just a suggestion.
I mean, Brother Abdullah, the link is, we just put the link in the chat. If you click on the link and come on the live, you can express those, whatever those agendas or those things are that you want to express, because we don't know what you're talking about. So we're not saying that it's not active, because you're saying that there are these 3 different agendas. Come on and explain them to us, because we're not aware of them. So we can't speak on something that we're not aware of. These 3 different movements that you're speaking of, we don't know about. So if we don't know.
Okay, yeah, I'm about to say, what is he saying? Because we're not talking about them. So what are you talking about with the nationhood movement?
That's what I'm saying. Just click the link and come on the live so you can express what you're talking about, so that we know. Because if there's something happening out there that we don't know of, then, enlighten us.
Right, either that or like,
it doesn't make sense that you.
Yeah, I would like to know what those 3 movements
right.
are. Because I haven't heard anybody, one black talking head talking about black folks need to have their own, or control their own piece of territory and have their own nation. I would love to. If there's somebody saying that, please connect me with them.
Right. That's what I'm saying. If, like, click on the link, come in, and we'll have a conversation about it.
They're not saying that. What they're saying, what's been popular for the last 5 or 10 years is ownership, which is great, ownership. But usually that ownership is always connected to it actually being solely owned by white people. Again, that agenda is always being connected to them. We give praises too. We'll see some black person, yeah, they got this, yeah, but Sony really runs it. Yeah, they got this, yeah, but really Def Jam is really running it, right? It's always the ownership piece is very important. Hell yeah. But if we don't control that industry, that billion can be gone in 3 hours.
Okay, well, Brother Abdullah say he's gonna come on in a few minutes, so let's have a dialogue about it, because I don't know what you're talking about at this point.
Yeah, if there's movements that's pushing for nationhood, I want to know who they are. That's I want to know, because I've been looking for people that's talking about. None of the black talking heads that everybody listens to mentions nationhood. None of them. And if I'm wrong, please correct me. I haven't heard any of the major black talking heads that everybody think is so deep and profound talking about we need to have our own territory. Because that's what we are all about. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if they know about us, why aren't they saying, yo, these BAIO dudes, y'all need to get down with them because they for nationhood too?
Because the truth of the matter is that America does not want black people to go anywhere. First of all, let's be very clear about that. America does not want us to go, no matter what we may think. Not at all. We are a huge industry in America. Our money matters. That's a huge part of it. Second of all, if I'm like let's say a Roland Martin or somebody like that, why would I say something that might get me canceled? Why would I do something that might cost my paycheck? I'm not gonna do that.
Umoja, just give us a second.
Abdullah is in the group and on the chat. Peace.
Hey,
peace, brother.
How's everybody doing?
Everybody's good, fam.
How are you?
I'm fine. I want to start this off by saying I didn't mean to offend anybody. I was only asking questions to know more about what you guys got going on.
No, nobody's offended.
No, no one was offended. We just wanted to understand what you were saying.
Yeah, I'm about to say to clarify.
We didn't understand what you were saying, and because we never heard of what you were referring to, that's why the invite was put forth, so that if there's somebody else doing it, let's go. So can you explain what you meant?
Okay, is a movement. I'm not talking. I know you guys thought I was talking about the Republic of New Africa. Those are the people that want the states in the South, like Georgia and all that stuff. Let's call it the Republic of New Africa. I don't think nobody really taking that serious.
No.
What I was referring to were the people who are talking about nationhood outside of America, a nation to ourselves, for the black people that have no nation, the nationless people that are in America.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And those groups are, you got one group called the Nagusi Republic or something like that. Nagusi is a Swahili word, I forgot the meaning of it. But you got those people, and they're actively trying to do some work in the Congo and stuff like that. They're trying to raise money to buy land in the Congo. And then you got JT, he's been in Kenya for like 3 years now. So he was in Burkina Faso first, but everybody knows the situation in Burkina Faso. So they relocated him and his people relocated to Kenya. They're trying to do something over there. Mm-hmm. And then you got these other people that just started a movement that I've been talking to lately, and they're in Rwanda and Mozambique because the lady Dr. Africa, I think that's her name, Arkina or something like that. Mm-hmm. She's the ambassador for the African Union for the African diaspora. Mm-hmm. They got a thing going on with a land deal in Mozambique. Okay. So that's all I was saying.
I'm familiar with one of those. The sister that you mentioned for the African, I think she was formerly of the African Union. She's not anymore.
Yeah,
right?
formerly. Yeah, I think formerly. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and I'm familiar with JT. And I'm familiar with JT. Yeah, I'm familiar with him.
I'm not familiar with JT.
He used to be a rapper back in the day. He used to be with Snoop Dogg.
Oh, really?
As a side piece about that, what the brother is talking about, there is stuff like let's just use Dr. Ericana and the BAIO, right? Like let's say you have two organizations doing the same thing, but we won't work together. You see what I mean? It'd be like, no, this leader wants everything done their way, or this sister wants everything done her way. It's like, but if we all have a shared vision, why are we not sharing the work? Right? Like when you're working in little silos, it's much easier for you to be picked off as well. All right, they're done. So the idea is for us to agree and all meet somewhere in the middle. For instance, the BAIO, or it could be anything. Let's say the UNIA was it, right? The Marcus Garvey organization. Let's say the UNIA, we was gonna make that the hub, right? So the UNIA, everybody will be a part of the UNIA. The BAIO will be a part of UNIA. The whatever Wakanda idea, they'll be part of UNIA. So no matter what we're doing, all of our efforts would be organized. So we still aiming for the same thing. Instead of just running around crazy, everybody think that we're doing good work because we are, but all that good work don't mean nothing if it's not done in unison, man. That's not organized. That's just people working really hard and getting nowhere. We've been doing this for centuries, y'all, literally. working so hard, and we've gotten nowhere, or very, very little progress. We can't afford that.
Can I ask you a question, Yamoja? Is there any other organization
Please,
you know
yes.
of that you can keep your brand and still be a part of it besides the BAIO?
Nope. Nope. Every other organization, they want you to worship their God. They want you to let go of women. They want you to where you can't date them, where you can't be gay, where you can't be this, you can't be that. You got to do this, and that's another roadblock. But then when you say just come as you are, we don't care about your religion. We don't care about who you love. We don't care about what we just want your brilliance, man, and your body. That's it. Keep your money for the African trips. It's a beautiful thing, but we just it's almost like it's too good to be true. It's like nah. Where's the hidden fees? Where's the hidden fees? You're gonna ask for my credit card in 13 seconds.
Something?
I promise we're not.
Yeah, go ahead, fam.
You totally right about that. About a lot of these people, they try to strip your identity away because, like I just said about the Nagusi people, like they only want people that practice African spirituality, right?
Oh Lord.
So my thing on that is, it's fine to practice whatever you want to practice, but in order for me to even come and talk to their group and stuff, they're like, "Oh, you can't be Muslim here," and I'm like, "Well, I've been Muslim my whole life. My family been Muslim their whole life. You know."
They are failed. They are already a failed organization. I'll tell you that now.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
already failed.
Exactly.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say one of the biggest roadblocks I would say is the end games are different. And what I mean by that, if the Nguzi people are a African spirituality group, then they're just a religious repatriation group, and that's just who they are. I mean, I ain't got nothing mad with them, but just realizing that, yeah, they're gonna have a smaller pool because they're a religious repatriation group. Just like you got Christian organizations on the continent that are trying to establish that as well. It's kind of like our end games are different. We care about land infrastructure nation, mostly in Liberia. I tend to focus on Liberia, but that's also why there's really hardly any unison. I mean, if you're a religious group, which your goal is they have to be African spirituality, they have to be Christian, it's going to be hard to sort of find the middle ground because our end games are fundamentally different.
Right. But, and this is the important point, if they were for land infrastructure nationhood and not for pushing their religion, they can be a part of the BAIO. We wouldn't care. You can, what you practice in your personal life is your business.
So let me ask this question. Are y'all going to be able to get the land in Liberia to do this?
Is the BAIO. I don't know of any other group that does that.
What did you say?
Yes, we already have it, sir. We already have land in Liberia. Look up Liberia Forward. We already ahead of that. Done and done.
Okay, cool.
Literally, we have a base of operations in Liberia.
Did y'all hear me?
What did you say, Mark? We didn't.
Oh, nobody heard me. Damn.
Say it again. No, because the other brother was trying to talk at the same time, so it was like in and out. Please say it again.
Okay.
I'm hearing the echo.
What I said was, can you all hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. What I said was, I don't know of any other organization that will allow you to be amongst them without losing yourself. Like, you can keep your brand, whatever religion you practice it. Whatever your personal beliefs are, that's your business. If you are for land infrastructure nationhood and for Black people controlling a piece of territory, and for us, that's Liberia, come into the mix, bring your talent. What other organization is doing that? That's my question. Where are they? Like, why aren't they a part of us? Because everybody knows what we're trying to do. Everybody knows what we're about. It's very clear. It's not ambiguous and it's not vague. So what's the reason why people are so reluctant to sign up to the website?
Because people really don't want it. People really don't want it, big brother. There is a emotional value of being able to break down the ills of the Black American, the ills of the Black African, to be able to break that down, look brilliant, have this emotional high, and then leave and just wait for it to happen so you can do it again. We find value in that. We literally clap for people like that. People who come up there and talk about how Mississippi water is dirt, how Flynn still has poisonous water. We clap for that. We don't sit there and think, wait a minute, what are we gonna do to stop this? That doesn't come in. That literally doesn't even come into the equation. It's just like, man, here we go again. This is messed up. This is messed up. There isn't the BIO thought of never again. We're going to control this. We need to control our water systems. We need to control our electricity power grids. We need to control our farms. That's not the thought. The thought is just, man, this is messed up. That is cowardice. That is weak. That is not being a man. Period, man. So when I hear these people say that, that's when I get angry. Because I say, stop playing, y'all. Y'all playing with our people, sitting up there making them feel good by telling them how bad things are for them, instead of saying, look, y'all, we don't have to live like this. We literally don't have to live like this. We could just go. It's that simple. It is that simple. Now, the building part is so hard. But damn it, are you worth it? Damn it, are you really a man? Are you really a man? I don't care about how many women that you have. I don't care how much money that you're making. Is your family safe in the country that you in, man? Can you send your kid to a damn birthday, to a dang high school party, and not worry about if he get pulled over, something gonna happen to him? Can you have a peace of mind that your family is safe in this country? Mind you, this is supposed to be a safe country. Mind you, this is supposed to be the most freest country in the world. Now let's talk about that. Now let's talk about the actuality. Let's talk about the fact that there's in your state, I don't care what state you're listening to me at, you know damn well that there's places in your state you will not go to at night because there's too many white people. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. But when we talk about Africa, all of these fears come into our head. Oh, there's bugs. There's bugs that's gonna make my titty fall off. Type of shit, right? But when we talk about America, you know damn well you are very unsafe. And you don't even care, man. You think that that's okay. Get the fuck out of here. Nah.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Did everybody leave? Look. I'm like, damn, did everybody leave?
Can you hear me?
Did everybody leave? Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah, Jabari had to go, so he just said peace to everybody. He had to check out.
Emotion, once you get started, we just listen to you. That's all. That's all that is.
Yeah, the founder of Liberia Forward is on our team.
Yes, sir. But Rudy, we haven't talked to him about like putting us on the website or anything. But I guess that would be beneficial.
That's not necessary.
Exactly. We're not worried about
founder. We're in communication with the founder every day.
Like literally, he's in our chats and everything. Like literally, like all yeah. So yeah, we're not worried about being seen. However, Baruti, I do get what you're saying. If somebody do see it, they'll say like, oh, okay, they're really about that. They actually reputable. I get that part, but yeah, we ain't worried about it.
Not at all, because things is happening regardless.
That's the beautiful part. That's the beautiful part, though. We up here talking and my ass screaming, but so much good stuff is happening. Like so much good stuff is happening. Come on and join, y'all. Y'all can learn about it. For real, good stuff is happening. Real good stuff is happening.
Yep, and we communicate on a daily basis with each other. You know,
brother, Deontay isn't on here. Deontay isn't on here, but I wanted to tell him personally, man, this young man has been doing such great work about organizing the trip. Seriously. Mm-hmm. I wanted to thank him personally and publicly about that because he's been doing a lot of work. Oops. Excellent question, underrated.
Abdullah, you still
on?
I
was on. Yeah, sorry about that. I wasn't looking. I was on TikTok and I seen one of the guys. I came in yesterday when he did a live stream, I think. Oh, I seen one of the guys. He was talking about Liberia and stuff. And I stay in Africa. I'm in America right now, but I live in Ethiopia now because all the things happening in America. And I'm from anyway, long story. So I've been reading up on about Liberia and stuff like that. And I was just scrolling through TikTok one day and I seen the guy. He was talking about it. and then he was talking about his YouTube channel. So I came across this YouTube channel, I think, and that's how I became familiar with the movement.
That's lovely, man. Bro, we need you here, brother. You are the BIO, sir. Just so you know, you literally are the BIO. You already the BIO and don't even know it. You already left America, said, nope, this ain't the spot for me. Now the next step is to actually making it to where we have our own. We're not, and mind you, brother, we're not talking about we're going against African governments. We're trying to no. We're working with African government. No, we are Africans. But what we're talking about is being able to govern ourselves. So we don't have somebody saying, well, you have to be Muslim, or you have to be Christian, or you have to be agnostic, or you have to marry this. No, we want to be able to govern ourselves. But you are the BIO, Abdullah. You are, brother. Welcome, sir. Welcome home,
All you
man.
gotta do is just sign up
Thank
to
you, though,
that
bro.
link.
Thank you, though.
Check out the website on that scrolling banner at the bottom of the screen.
Let me say this too. Click on the link, Abdullah, and before we get off this line, get somebody email. So once you sign up, bro, you can actually get into our chat rooms. Because when you go on the website, you'll be signed up, but we don't want to lose you. We want you to come into our private chat rooms, to our Signal group, get on our Discord chat so you can chat with us privately. Don't just sign up on the website and then wait. Make sure you hit us up for real. Make sure you get an email and hit us up and say, I'm signed up, so we can send you the links to our other chats so you can be in communication with us 24/7. Do you feel me?
Yeah, I feel you. I'll do that.
Yes, sir.
When you guys going to Liberia? I heard you talking about a trip.
We're going to Sierra Leone in May.
You say May?
Yeah, in May. And we're also going to go to Liberia as well.
Yeah, and then some more of all of us can't go in May, so some more of us are gonna plan a December January trip, December of 2023. Yeah, because some of us can't go in May, but we're gonna be hitting at least one trip a year. That's the aim, is for at least some of us to go somewhere once a year. That's the aim.
Yep.
But see, brother Abdullah, somebody like you though, coming in, you have the American experience, you already in Africa, you're in a country where I don't think we have anybody who lives in Ethiopia right now. So just the information that you have, bro, is invaluable. It's invaluable. That's what we want, is you. We don't care about your religion. We don't care who you married to. We want to know, what do you do as a profession, and when can we come visit Ethiopia so we can figure out what we can do there. That's it, man. It ain't no rocket science. We don't want to sit and talk for hours and hours and hours and never go nowhere. No, man, we doing it. We doing it, man. Straight up. So happy to hear you,
we
bro.
have a big tent approach. And our only requirement is that you don't, like, what we don't, there's people of varying different ideologies and religions in our group, but nobody ever pushes that. What they push is land, infrastructure, nationhood in Liberia. That's what we all agree on. There's no infighting about who's a true religion and which God is this and all that nonsense.
Yeah, well, and that's really important though, because when you come into an organization, you immediately get told to quench and quote who you are as a person. We're not saying none of that. Don't you know, we got, I'm gonna say, nerds, people who like anime, people who like guns, people who like religion, people who like men, girls who, I don't know if we got any lesbians, I don't know, but I'm just saying, we have a plethora of people, and if that turns you off, that's a you problem. If you can't work with somebody because they gay, that's your problem, bro. Sorry, we're not for you. Sorry, but not sorry. Straight up. But if you are serious about the whole what they call it, intersectionality, and we're not a monolith, we are not a monolith here in the BIO. We just have a shared vision. Come on. And we will prove it to you. Don't just hear us, man. Come. We will prove it, man. We don't just talk. We doing what we saying. We not getting off of here and we're never going to Africa. That's not happening. No.
We've already been.
We doing this. Hello. Some of us several times.
Isn't Shauna in the chat? Where is she at? Isn't she in Nigeria?
I don't know if she went back yet. No, we talking about the sister Love and Niger. We talking about our sister, brother. Yeah. She's in Nigeria now. We got another sister. We got a couple sisters in Ghana. I know we got
people in
several people
Namibia.
in Namibia. We got people in Tanzania too who are down with us.
We got
Yeah,
people
man, we
in
got people all
Rwanda.
across the continent. That's actually crazy
So
when you say it like that.
so when you say it like that, that right there.
Wait, somebody has their computer audio on because it's feedback. Turn your computer off or your audio down. If whoever's listening to themselves on the computer, that's what's causing that feedback.
Underrated got a question up there that's a good question.
Who's he directing that at? The brother?
He said it's for everybody.
What are your thoughts of having corporations in what? What is that? LR?
Liberia.
He's talking about individuals. I would imagine, right? I'm all for it.
He said this question is for the panel. Same.
Yeah, I'm all for it. You're gonna have that. You know, like when you have people setting up LLCs and sole proprietorships and corporations. Yeah, that's a no-brainer right there. Somebody still got their audio. Hello? Okay. Yeah. It's going now.
Right. But I mean, that's absolutely one of the goals, to have our own, have corporations and things like that in Liberia. The majority of, from what we discuss, is us preparing to go over there and start businesses, to start different industries in Liberia that are not there. There's a need for everything there.
Yeah. The most important thing, though, when you want business people to come and participate in your country, you have to make sure that your country is not corrupt. And you got to make sure that there's rule of law. So that if people purchase property, they get deeds. They don't have to speak to Roman Reigns. Stuff like that. We're living in a modern society. You have rule of law, laws, that type of stuff. Because some people got some really warped ideas of what it means to be African. I've heard some crazy shit. I told you last time we was on here, somebody said Africa's land wasn't meant for skyscrapers and buildings. Did I lose everybody?
No, I'm still here.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm still here.
It got real quiet.
I'm just listening.
But yeah, like I just want everybody to know, if you're just tuning in now, don't think that we've gone off topic, because we dedicated the first half of this live to answering the question. Somebody's got that audio on. Who is that? Wait, hold on. Let me mute everybody except me. That's you, Yamoja. I don't know what you're doing.
I was muted.
I just muted you and it went away.
Oh shit. My bad.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, what I was saying is the first half we answered the question, how do Black folks create jobs? Well, the answer is simple. I'll recap. You create jobs by controlling the infrastructure and building. That's how you create jobs. Every infrastructure project that you have creates blue collar and white collar jobs. We digged into that in the first half of the live streams. You can go back, but everything that we said is not really off topic of that. But what we're basically just describing is the mindset that's needed in order for you to create jobs for your people, because you're not going to create jobs for your people in America when you don't control the means of production. And that's the whole point. And another point is, we want the people that's on the fence, Black people who not really sure who they should be listening to. That's who this stream was designed for, because we want you to ask certain questions to the people that you're talking to. We want you to ask them, what is the Black agenda? We want you to ask them, what is the end game for Black folks in America? And we want you to ask them, how do Black folks create jobs for their own people? Ask them those three questions, and that will separate the wheat from the chaff. That way you'll know who's for real and who's full of shit. Because if you ask the BAIO, what is the end game? No, what is the Black agenda? The BAIO member will say the Black agenda is land, infrastructure, and nationhood. If you ask a BAIO member, what is the end game for Black folks in America? Their answer will be land, infrastructure, and nationhood in Liberia. And I'll just add this. If they want to stay in America, it will be a thriving and successful satellite community from our base of operations in Liberia. And then if you ask a BAIO member, how do Black folks create jobs? That BAIO member would say, by controlling the infrastructure of our nation. That's how we create jobs. That's how we create industries, because jobs come from industries, from productions. When you control the means of the production, then you can create thousands of jobs. And we can employ our own people instead of begging white folks for jobs here in America. That's the point. So for that person that's on the fence, we suggest that you join the BAIO website. If you look at the strolling banner at the bottom of the screen, you'll see. Don't be a cupbearer and don't bend the knee to the white man in America, which is what every militant integrationist and Black Power Americans' goal is if they want to stay in America, is to bend the knee to the white people and white supremacy. If you don't want to do that, join the BAIO so we can get this nationhood thing, this land, infrastructure, and nationhood thing kicking on Liberia. And if anybody has anything else to say, you can shoot your shot right now, but that's about the end of this stream.
What's the
Anybody?
name of the website? What's the name of the website? I can't really see it good.
BAIO Afrikstan. That's AFRIKSTAN.org /register.
And remember, when you do, G, leave your email or something too, Hollis, or make sure that we get him in the Discord and everything else. Yeah, man, make sure we get him in the Discord and Signal and stuff. And Abdullah, man, if you rocking with some Africans or some Africans in the diaspora, where you at? Bring them in, man. Bring them in, straight up. Bring them in.
Nationhood, bring them in, because everybody, we should be getting signups by the thousands.
Let me say this, big bro. Understand, people. Let's say you're doing really well in America. You come from a really good Black family. Y'all straight, gated communities and everything. You do understand you could still help. You could still help. Right. You can still use your profession and help us, man. You can send us blueprints. You can send us some new technology ideas. You can, when it's time, and we are taking more trips and we are actually laying bricks and we got a fund, you can send $5 a month. You know what I'm saying? You can actually still help your people. You don't have to leave America. That's the thing too. You can still help though.
Right. Yeah, it's called a satellite nation. Satellite communities, I should say. You can set up satellite communities just like there's Chinatowns in just about every country in the world. They can be Africa towns.
You know how maybe some of y'all on here may be a part of an organization or part of something where you're giving $5-10 a month or something like that, or you just like you tie that church maybe 10%, 5%. But imagine how good you would feel, man, if you know that once a year, once a month, whatever, you send $3. I don't care what it is. You send a letter to a nation that's building something for your people, for your future, for your kids, man. Imagine how good you would feel. as a person, as a black person, to know that you're doing something that's actually helping. Not that, oh, I'm giving something and I know it's supposed to go somewhere. I'm gonna give to the what they call the first aid, whatever the people call that, go to the no, actually giving to here. This is for Liberia Forward. This is for BIO. I know this is going to black people, and it's to build something for my future. Man, that excites me. I know it
Right.
excites
And it
me.
won't be it won't be no GoFundMe, and it won't be no Patreon. It's gonna be legit funding. And the ultimate funding for Liberia is taxes from the citizens that live there because they're working. So we're not asking for handouts. All we really want really now is your time.
You know, it's funny, Olive, when you say taxing from citizens, guaranteed spider senses is gonna go off. But when you don't,
Well, I don't know
understand
why.
how,
Are they spider
when
senses going off in America?
but this was my next comment. When you don't understand the tax and regulation and laws and how heavily taxed you are in America, your taxes will go off because you just used to those talking points. Oh, taxes, tax the rich, tax.
You
We
know
so
how
taxed here is
proud
pathetic.
you know how
It's pathetic.
proud I would be to pay taxes to Liberia, where I know that the taxes come out of my check is going toward my government. I would feel just as patriotic as these white folks do about paying taxes to America right now.
Oh, sure, absolutely, except for the million and billionaires, because they don't pay
Well,
tax.
they're not real
So,
Americans anyway.
you know,
The
but
robber barons are more American than they are, because at least they was looking out for the interests of their company. Like, listen, I live here, so I want this country to be good.
right.
Yeah, but anyway, y'all, I think we've made our point, and I hope that anybody who's on the fence is listening to this and gets off the fence and joins the BAIO.
And like
I'm
you
about
said,
to sign. I'm about to do it now.
Thank you.
thank you. And I appreciate you for coming on, Brother Abdullah. We just wanted to make sure that there was no more miscommunication. And that's a big thing with us as a people. We are so passionate about what we believe in that sometimes we miss what's actually being stated to us. And we're not even disagreeing with one another, but we're so used to arguing with one another or disagreeing or trying to get our point across so forcefully that we miss, opportunities to be in contact with like-minded people. So
Right.
thank you, because typically when we extend this, people get on not to understand, but to just continue that dissension. So I want to thank you for just coming on, listening to what we were saying. We completely listened to you and we heard you, and making the contact and the connection that is definitely needed.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Well, the brother came on so correct. He came on and said, "Listen, I wasn't trying to offend anybody. I was trying to make a point." He came on just correct. He wasn't coming
Right.
on trying to, like you said, he wasn't coming on just trying to make some bullshit point. He was coming on trying to express his point. And guess what? Hey, we're brothers. Come on, for real. That's how we get down. We're not just trying to argue for argument's sake, man. Straight up,
And
we
I
actually
also
trying to connect.
want to make the statement that when we extend that, because a lot of people don't typically click on the link and come on with the open mind. If they do, they want, like I said, they want to fight. When you come on and we the way that we embraced this brother and accepted him and listened to his points of view, and he ultimately listened to ours, this is what we're trying to build. I honestly didn't know before he made the statement that he's on the continent. So that's an important ally that we just garnered by just being genuine and having a conversation. These are the things that we have to start doing, having true conversations with people. And I just like to make sure that everybody knows that when we do extend that, we're extending it to be genuine. We want to actually hear your point of view.
Go ahead, Jamoja. You was echoing there for a little bit. Jamoja.
Oh, yes. sorry, I put myself back on mute. Yeah, I want to say this, Salima. Everybody on this screen, pat yourself on the back because we have changed the world of the BIO today. Might be a small change. Shit, Brother Abdullah might make a big change, but we have changed and improved today. Everybody should pat yourself on the back. We can't forget the small victories. That's why
That's
every now and then I gotta remind us that we are doing. We on here frustrated because we know that we should be moving way faster. We should have way more people, so it frustrates us. However, we have to acknowledge that we are doing stuff. We are making moves. Like, please never ever let the frustration of the others make us forget about what we are doing. That's why when we get on here and say, no, but what we trying to, no, y'all. Trying my ass. We are doing it. It just might not be going as fast as it could because we ain't got the manpower. But damn it, with the few we do have, damn it, we are doing it. For real, y'all. That's a big fucking deal. In this crazy world, that is a huge deal. Please don't let that fall short. That is a huge deal, y'all. Good shit. Straight up.
That's right.
Absolutely.
All right, y'all. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. It's been real. Love you all.
Love you.
Love.
Peace.